Well, hello, hello, hello. Long time no see, eh? It has been a while, and we can only apologise for that. But as we have explained in the past, that's because we have had our heads down with the book that we were commissioned by Bloomsbury, Adlard Coles, which I'm happy to report we have put to bed. This means we can now concentrate on slipping the lines, and that is exactly what we're going to be doing today. This is the last time you'll see this view, hopefully. So after a year of being tied up, and this lovely spot, really like it here, but it's time to move on. And today is the day that we slip the lines. So for the last few days we've been busy preparing the boat, giving her a bit of a spring clean. Liz has been potting the plants. I'm sitting next to about 20,000 pot plants here. Generally giving the boat a bit of a tidy up. We have my brother up for the weekend, and we are going to go just down the road just to wet our toes once more. We've got some long-term plans which we'll talk about at a later date, but we have to hang around this area just for a couple more weeks at least, so we'll talk a bit more about that in more detail later. But in the meantime, we've probably got another 7 hours of sunlight left, which is going to be plenty enough time just to get down the canal and maybe stop off at the pub for a late afternoon drink and find somewhere out in the countryside to take Marley for a lovely country walk. Right, that's enough. It's time to slip those lines and crack on with it. Well, we've just stopped off at one of our favourite stops. Everyone who comes to visit us, we always bring them here. It's literally 3-4 miles up from Stanland Marina between the swing bridge and the lock. Because we have Tim with us, he's just up for a couple of days, so we will turn around and take him back. Tim, by the way, is looking to buy a narrowboat. We took him down to Nationwide Marina. They have a number of boats on the market down there, so it was he's very experienced with narrowboating. You've seen him on our channel before. He's been with us before, and he's done a lot of narrowboating, probably more experienced than Liz and me, to be honest. So it's going to be interesting following his journey with him trying to find the right boat. So I just wanted to very quickly explain the situation regarding our next movements. As you know, we want to get down to the Fens in Cambridgeshire, and there are two big journeys to undertake. The first one is the River Trent, tidal, meandering as well. Having done our research on it, I'm not only fairly confident, I'm also looking forward to it. I think it will be great fun going on a tidal river. There's a few issues we've got regards steerage and timing your tides. And then of course you go down the Fosdyke Canal through Lincolnshire and out into the Wash, and that's the second part of the big adventure, is to go out into the open sea. We'll talk a lot more about this in more detail. The reason why I'm telling you this though is that currently on the Keady Canal, in order to get to the Trent, we have to go through Keady Lock. I've noticed a lot of people call it Keady Lock. There are a few issues not only with the lock, but there's also an old railway bridge just before the lock, which is forever having problems. They repaired it a year or two ago and didn't do a very good job on it, apparently, so I've been told. And so they keep having issues with it. So we get daily notifications on whether this thing is working or not. The other way to get to the Trent, of course, is to go the other way. So we go out west, up the new junction, and then east past Goole to hit the Trent Falls. But I think with some careful planning and timing of tides, it's perfectly doable. It just means adding a few extra miles on the journey. We'd much prefer to be going out here because it shaves off quite a few miles off the Trent. So that's the situation we're at regarding navigating. Tell us about the book then.
The book?
Yeah.
Well, the book's about sailing, and it's about cruising, and we finished it. That's the main thing.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Where are we at with it?
Yeah, we finished it. So we sent the manuscript off a couple of weeks ago, and now it goes through all manner of editing and all kinds of things that the publisher now has to deal with. And no doubt there will be bits to rewrite and a lot of toing and froing while we set it all. They've got all your photos, so they've got to make all the tables look nice and then set every page for the whole book. There's about 60,000 words in this book, and yeah, it's going to be available to buy in a year's time. In about 11 months' time, actually, March 27, it'll be available to buy. But hopefully we'll get some pre-publication books. Let's see. We'll keep everyone in. We'll let you know. We'll keep you in the loop. We've never done this before.
How does it feel to have finished?
Tell you what, it feels brilliant, but I'm so tired. It just seems to have been non-stop. So we were working till midnight the last week or so, of course, and working every day for the few months before. Marley. And then we had to get the boat ready to leave the marina, and I just feel like I just need a rest now. Oh, Marley.
The rest is what we're having.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah.
The other issue we have is that Liz still has not had her foot operation, and she has been on the waiting list now for, I don't know, 9 months, is it? I think 6 or 9 months, and nothing's happening with that. That is at a local hospital. So ideally we'd like to be in the area for her to do that, but we're not going to let it stop us. We've decided that if we end up doing the Trent and we end up in Lincolnshire and she suddenly gets the call through to get her foot operation, we'll just hire a car and drive her up there. It will put her out of action for 2 weeks, but as I say, we're not going to let it stop us from doing anything. So that is the current situation as it stands on day 1 as Constant Cruisers. We are now officially Constant Cruisers. We have no more ties to the marina. We are free as birds. It's exciting, isn't it? Before we set off on our journey, I need to make sure everything's good with the engine. One of the things that I noticed was that we were getting lots of coolant leak after running the engine for a few hours. So with the Vetus, we have a VH465 diesel engine, so 65 horsepower. You can just see over my left shoulder there is the expansion tank. So the idea is that as the temperature heats up, the coolant water, which is under pressure, expands. And so the idea of the header tank is to allow for that excess expansion of the water. And while the engine is running, you'll see this starts to fill up with the excess water. There's a pressurized cap at the top which should release the excess air. One of the problems that I have been having is this. After running the engine, we end up with coolant water, and I know it's coolant water because it's got a slight blue tinge to it, which of course is our antifreeze rust inhibitor solution. I have never owned an expansion tank before. On our previous boat we didn't have one of these, and I realise I've been making a mistake. On this bottle is a maximum and a minimum mark, and I have been filling this up to the maximum mark. What this means is that as it heats up, this is overflowing and is pissing out of the top of the cap, and this is not correct. This is not what we should be doing. I've been looking into it, and when the engine is cold there should be barely any fluid in this at all, just a little bit at the bottom at the most, so that you've got plenty of air to allow this expansion to happen without it leaking. That aside, not particularly confident with this bottle. I think perhaps one of the rubber seals has gone on the overflow pipe anyway, so I'm looking to replace that. The other thing I want to do, which some of you pointed out when they first saw our engine, is to replace the water hoses as well. So I've just ordered a whole new set of water hoses. The other thing that I've got to do this summer is to start looking at all of this surface rust here. So I need to strip the whole engine bay and put some rust paint down before then painting it with a nice top coat. Anyway, the problem with Vetus engines is that, of course, they are Dutch and a lot of the parts have to be ordered from Holland and we have to hang around for a bit. So we are now moored up opposite our old spot. We are now continual cruisers, and it means that we've got to hang around here for a little bit for those parts to be delivered. This is another ongoing project, just finishing off the paintwork on the front there, stripping back the old water-based paint around the door frames, and we'll be finishing off with the Sickens oil-based paint, which you can see I've done one frame there, so that's done. These are an absolute bastard though, they're taking ages to strip.